Good morning, class. I'm Professor Ginsberg. Um, I found Jim Burke's classroom management book to be highly useful. A lot of his concepts and a lot of the things that he talks about within his book, I'm incorporating in my classes on a daily basis, and I'm finding these concepts to be highly effective. And so I think one of the first two most important things that I think Jim Burke wants the audience and the readers to understand is that one, that it's very important that you incorporate these concepts in the beginning of class so that you can build a strong foundation before moving on to anything else. And I think another important concept that he wants our audience to understand is the importance of relationships, building relationships with your students, building that trust with your students, and realizing how effective that can be with your students being able to listen to you and trust you throughout the year. Another thing that I think is important that he talks about is being able to be consistent with your rules and with your policies throughout the year, not giving in here and there, so that your students truly take you seriously when implementing them and when talking to them about this. When looking at instruction in the book, he talks about using your time efficiently before class, preparing for class, right? The importance of preparing for class. He also talks to students walk in, the importance of greeting your students, talking to your students, using this time to get to know your students a little bit more. How was your wrestling match? How was your soccer game? How's things going at home? Is everything good? Talking to them, letting them know how you are and how your weekend went, right? Another thing that he talks about before the class even starts is talking about the logistics, right? The things that need to be, you have a test on Thursday, or you need to study on this day, or don't forget to turn this in on this day. Getting all the business items done first before moving into your instructions. And I think the last most important part that he talks about in instruction is modeling what you'd like them to do, right? So if you're asking them to do a particular thing or an assignment, model that for them. Show them what that looks like, right? And so I think that was a really important thing that he talks about. Moving on to differentiation, right? Using a variety of teaching methods and using a variety of group formats. So not only coming in and teaching maybe PowerPoint every day or things of that nature, but switching it up. Maybe PowerPoint one day, maybe group projects another, maybe even taking your instruction outside, right, for that particular day. I think you need to keep it different so that students are intrigued every day they come in. And then just using a variety of group formats, I think, is critical. And I use that today, for instance, in my badminton unit. Not only will I allow students to work in groups, in 3 to 4 students per group, or just individually, or even in groups of 2. I switch it up to give students an opportunity to try different things and what works best for them. Moving on to discipline, Jim Burke talks about discussing the behavior you expect from the beginning, right? Talking to them from the beginning. And at the same time, right, as you talk about these behavior policies that you're expecting, understanding that you need to be fair and flexible at the same time. Students are going through a lot of things, right, at home and in the classroom. And so we must be understanding to those needs. And I think that's very important. And then again, modeling for students what you should expect. So how do you expect to be behaved? If you want them to come inside and start writing in their journal, right, and sit down quietly, show them what that looks like. Show them what you want them to do in the classroom. Moving on, I think one of the chapters I found really interesting, I had this problem initially in my class, was the assignments, right, the troubleshooting. What were the reasons behind why students weren't turning in their assignments or weren't doing them properly, or even just not giving effort to the assignment. And so one is providing models. So if you have students asking them to do a particular assignment, show them what that looks like, how you want that to look like. And I did that actually in my last unit, filling out a score sheet for our badminton unit, and I showed them exactly how I wanted them to fill that sheet out. Put it up on the board, on the screen, so they could see it. I allowed them time to practice it, so that when it came to our round robin in the badminton unit, they knew exactly what to do in that particular assignment. Burke also talks about providing opportunities to collaborate, right? Giving assignments, allowing students to work together on these assignments, right? And in that, you're allowing students to ask each other questions. You're helping these students build teamwork and collaboration. So I really like that. And then also giving students the opportunity to begin assignments in class, right? So as they begin these assignments, they can ask you if they have any questions on the particular assignment, so that when they get home, all those questions are answered. So I think that's huge as well. And I'm actually incorporating it in my classroom now, where I'm allowing students to start something in class, right? Look at it, evaluate it, and if they have any questions, being given the opportunity to ask me so I can clarify any questions. And then again, and you can see this in every chapter, about being consistent with your students. All right, so if they have an assignment every Thursday, then have that assignment be handed out every Thursday. And if you're doing one thing for one class, right, if you're giving an assignment for one class, you need to be giving it to all your classes, because students will acknowledge those differences and those consistencies as well. I just want to, thank everyone for listening, and I hope you guys have a great week.